Hi there, my name's Jason Williams, and this video is about building a rolling steel saw bench. And you know, it's a video of necessity, or it's a job of necessity, because I normally carry bits of patio tubing and bits of metal and various pieces and cut them out the front of the shed on the ground. That gets a little bit tiring and a bit old after a while. So what I'm going to do is make a bench. It's going to be the same height as this. It's going to be about 4 meters long. The width will be just slightly wider than the saw, and the saw's going to recess into it so that I can slide a piece of steel straight along onto the face of this without getting caught or lipping up or having to prop anything up. And I want to make it so I can use my cold cut saw and the hot cut saw, depending on what I'm doing. It's mostly this one. This one barely ever gets used. Most of the cold cut does. I've got some old wheels here that I've pinched off. Not pinched. I've had on something else for some years, and I've retired it, and keep a little spot to store my spare blades. You know, store my cold cut saw, and put some hangings on the back of it so that I can keep my extension cords up off the ground, like in a specific place. And the main reason is so I can roll it out of the shed, cut the steel outside, so you know, no mess in the shed, and roll it back in. And also it's going to serve more than one purpose. Not only is it going to keep everything on it, but I want a mobile bench so I can maneuver a bench that I can work off at a nice height, working on either cars or the car, or you know, the boat, whichever it is. I can just roll it around on the concrete and work everywhere. Lucky I made a nice 4 meter apron of concrete out the front with a slab. Lucky. And yeah, so I guess I'll begin. You'll see me cutting on the ground in this video because, well, I have to cut on the ground to build it. But once I've built it, there's no more cutting on the ground. Thank goodness for that. All right, let's begin. All right, so here you see me cutting an 8 meter length of steel. This is to cut this in half, making a 4 meter bench. And I'm also cutting some offcuts I had left over from another job to do the fore end and the rear end of the bench to make it nicer. I'm getting quite excited doing this. It's horrible cutting on the ground, but from here I'll no longer be cutting on the ground. I'll be able to cut on a bench and no longer squat over the ground like you see me doing. Alright, with those couple of bits cut, I've clamped onto this table, and I've got the saw sitting in there. I've got the sizes right. I've sort of prepped everything in place, and I guess I'll start tacking it together. So I've cut a couple of pieces of this patio tubing, RHSs, to sit either side of the saw, relatively firmish, you know, sort of. And there's going to be a bench top, wooden, like MDF bench top that'll come. I've got to adjust the height of the saw last, but I'll just weld these in now because they're in place. Measure up where the next bit's got to go, and then start whacking the legs on. Right, so I'm going to, I've cut these all at 713mm long, the legs, being that I've had to minus the 75mm for the tube and the 60mm for the ply and the height of the wheels, so that I get it the same height as this table. And I'm going to go around and play with a square till I get it, you know, absolutely perfect, and then I'll tack it in place and So yeah, see how I go with that. Alright, so we've got this. This is going to be welded in and tapped in. That's the wheel that's going to go on the bottom here. Yeah, I'm going to weld that on the bottom. And that's kind of mostly it. And I'm just tacking this in place, or welding it in place pretty much. I've got these other sections to put in that I've got cut, and the top part. And I'll weld them in now. Alright, so as you can see, I've welded these wheels on. All of them, all of the framing is all welded together. Absolutely everything is done here. The wheels are on. The only thing left to do is obviously to do the bench tops, but I've also got to make some recesses in here that the saw will sit on, but that I'll show you as I go. Now I'm gonna get it down on the ground and go from there. Hoping this shelf's not going to be too heavy for these wheels. Probably will be. Not too much flex in it, I assume. And so this, looking at this should be 16 mil from the top of that. So the 16 mil board will go on there and it should make it the same level. Cool. All right, I'll have to make the top board now with the opening in it for the saw, and then I'm going to have to measure the exact depth the saw needs to sit and cut some other little pieces of flat bar and weld in here as a seat. All right, let's do that. Alright, so I screwed the top bench down a bit. This is the hole and that's the saw. And so the saw's got to sit in there so that the cutting level is flush with this. And so I've got to weld in some little plates, some pieces of flat bar in here. See if I can't get it so it's the right height and the saw sits in it. Alright, let's do that. Alright, so here you have it, the bench. You know, I can cut from this end. Cut from here. I can slide my steel along the bench and cut. It'll have, you know, bit over 3 meters of carrying capacity of the steel. And the end of it, you know, it's got about 1 meter here, and on this side, you know, I've got a couple of hangers. That's where I keep an extension cord. All right, and it rolls around, and that's exactly what I want it to do. So there you have it, the bench. It's you know, this is going to be a lot easier for me to cut at this height. Being the same height as that bench behind me, I can use them, you know, together. Not that I have to, but it's nice that I'll be able to cut steel on at this height without having to be on the ground. That's the idea. That's the idea for this. And the other idea for it is it's a mobile workbench, so I can wheel it outside, work on whatever it is, maybe your vehicle, or maybe it's anything at all, and I've got like a heap of bench space, mobile. Sweet. And I got my other saws underneath. I couldn't make the other saw fit in the same spot as this because it's got such a different profile and different size foot bench on it. So this is how it is, and this is good enough. This is awesome in my book. I'm pretty stoked about this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll aspire to see you in the next one. Sweet, thank you.